Hey, I need to tell you something your therapist won't. Because they're trying not to hurt your feelings, so brace yourself. Your anxiety, not the problem. What you're doing to get away from it, that's the problem. We need to get our shit together and face our fears. And today, we're pulling up our big girl pants. You and me. Okay, so here's the thing nobody actually explains to you about anxiety. It's not broken. Like, it is not a malfunction. It is not your brain betraying you. It is your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. Anxiety is an alarm system. It evolved over thousands of years specifically to keep you alive, to flag threats, to stop you from walking into danger, to tap you on the shoulder and go, hey, something here needs your attention. That's it. That's the whole job. Think about it like this. You know that one coworker, the one who sends urgent emails at 11 p.m.? Annoying? Absolutely. Bad at timing? Chronically. But here's the thing about her. She is never wrong. That's what anxiety is. Your brain's version of that woman. Irritating, intense, always showing up at the worst possible moment, but not lying to you. Here's what's wild though. An estimated 301 million people worldwide have an anxiety disorder. And according to the Global Burden of Disease study, that number has increased by more than 50% over the last 3 decades, and it is still climbing. We are collectively more anxious than we have ever been, and we are also more focused than ever on making the anxiety stop. Manage it, calm it, medicate it, breathe through it. And I'm not saying those things are wrong, but what if we've been treating the alarm instead of checking what it's pointing at? Because here's what anxiety actually is. It's information. It is your nervous system trying to hand you a note that says, something here matters and you are not dealing with it. The anxiety isn't the enemy. What you're doing to get away from it, that's the enemy. And that is what we're talking about today. So here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because avoidance doesn't feel like avoidance. It feels like relief. Anxiety shows up, that low hum, that tight chest, that thing you don't want to think about, and your brain goes, okay, what's the fastest way out of this feeling? And it finds something. Scrolling, staying busy, convincing yourself you'll deal with it later, and for a second, it works. The feeling dips, you breathe, and your brain goes, noted. We're doing that again. That's the trap. Because the thing that triggered the anxiety, still there. You didn't solve it, you just taught your brain that avoidance is the exit. And every time you use that exit, the anxiety gets a little bigger, a little louder, because now it's the original thing, plus the guilt of not dealing with it, plus the dread of how much worse it's gotten, plus the exhaustion of carrying it around. You didn't escape the anxiety, you just gave it a gym membership. And here's how it actually plays out in real life. You're at a work event, someone comes up to you, clearly knows you, and you realize you have absolutely no idea what their name is. You should know, you definitely should know, but it's gone. Early in the night you think, okay, I'll just figure it out from context. An hour passes. Now it's weird to ask. 2 hours. Now it's really weird to ask. By the end of the night, you have had a full, meaningful conversation with this person, and you would genuinely rather leave the country than admit you don't know their name. That's avoidance. Not dramatic, not life-altering, just a small, uncomfortable thing that got bigger and bigger and bigger the longer you refused to touch it. And look, that's a low-stakes example. Nobody's life fell apart because they didn't know someone's name at a party. But that exact same mechanism, the small avoidance that compounds into something bigger and more suffocating the longer you leave it, that's happening in areas of your life that actually matter. And the research backs this up in a way that honestly made me a little uncomfortable when I read it. Now multiply that by every email you haven't sent, every conversation you've been putting off, every notification you filed away for later, every time you've opened Instagram, not because you wanted to, but because your nervous system needed an exit. You open it, and suddenly it's been 45 minutes and you've watched 7 videos of raccoons doing things raccoons shouldn't be doing, and somehow you feel worse than when you started. Groundbreaking stuff. Here's what the research actually shows. A 2022 meta-analysis, 441 studies, over 135,000 participants, found that experiential avoidance is what researchers call a transdiagnostic factor, meaning it doesn't just show up in one condition. It cuts across anxiety, depression, OCD, and PTSD. Transdiagnostic. Across diagnoses. It is the common thread running through almost every major mental health condition they studied, maintaining it, feeding it, keeping it alive. And women, specifically, are 1.66 times more likely to be affected by anxiety disorders than men. And research shows that behavioral avoidance predicts anxiety in women specifically, not men, women. So if you're sitting here thinking, this sounds a little too familiar, it's not a coincidence. It's a pattern, and you are not alone in it. Let me tell you about Sam. Sam got the promotion. Finally. Years of grinding, saying yes to everything, staying late when everyone else went home. And she deserved it, genuinely. So she upgraded a little. Nice apartment, better car, nothing crazy. And then life happened. A friend's wedding, flights, dress, hotel, because you can't miss Sarah's wedding. An emergency vet bill because her dog decided to eat something he absolutely should not have eaten. And again, what was she going to do? A birthday dinner because she loves her people. A round of drinks because that's just who she is. She's the generous one, the one who picks up the tab, the one who shows up. Every single purchase had a reason. None of it felt wrong in the moment. She just stopped looking at the total. One statement she didn't open. Too busy. Then another. Then she set the billing emails to a folder she'd get to eventually. Then eventually became 6 months. Then a year. Sam wasn't in denial. She was just optimistic. There's a difference, she thinks. The anxiety was there the whole time. That low hum every time she tapped her card. That small flinch when a payment notification popped up. But Sam had gotten very good at turning the volume down, staying busy enough that she never had to sit in the quiet with it. And here's the thing about avoidance. It doesn't feel like a problem when it's working. It feels like managing, like being a functioning adult who has a lot going on and will absolutely deal with that later, until later arrives. Sam found the apartment. Perfect location, perfect price, exactly where she wanted to be. She filled out the application, excited for the first time in a while. And then she had to pull the number. It wasn't catastrophic, it was just not where it needed to be. Not even close. And in that quiet moment, sitting alone with her laptop, application half filled, Sam didn't cry. She didn't spiral. She just felt the weight of every statement she hadn't opened. Every notification she'd filed away. Every time she'd told herself, later, later, later. Later was now. And later was so much harder than it ever needed to be. The anxiety had been trying to tell her something for 18 months. It had been tapping her on the shoulder, sending her the 11 p.m. emails, doing its job. Sam had just been too busy running from it to listen. And the cruel irony of avoidance, the thing you're running from doesn't stay the same size while you're gone. It grows. Every month Sam didn't look, the interest compounded. The number got scarier, which made her less likely to look, which made the number grow more. The avoidance wasn't protecting her from the problem. It was the problem. So what do you actually do with all of this? Here's what the science actually says. And it's simpler than you'd expect, and harder than you'd like. You face it. Not because it won't be uncomfortable, it will be. But facing something your brain has flagged as threatening is, and I mean this literally, exercise for your mind. Every time you do it, you get stronger. Every time you avoid it, the muscle weakens. That's not a metaphor. That's how your nervous system actually works. Here's what happens when you face something instead of running from it. Your anxiety spikes, heart racing, chest tight, that full body, I need to get out of here. And everything in you says, scroll, get busy, close the tab, don't. Because research on habituation shows that your nervous system cannot sustain that level of activation indefinitely. It has a ceiling. If you stay with it, the anxiety peaks, and then it drops on its own, without you doing anything except not running. Your body does the work, you just have to let it. Think of it like a wave. It builds, it crests, and it breaks. Every single time. But something even more powerful is happening underneath that. Every time you face the anxiety instead of avoiding it, your brain builds new memories, new evidence, a competing story that says, I've been here before, I know how this ends, I'm okay. Researchers call this inhibitory learning. You're not just calming down in the moment, you're literally rewriting what your brain believes is possible for you. You are getting stronger. And here's what nobody tells you when you're in the thick of it. Emotions are temporary, all of them, even the ones that feel like they will swallow you whole. Anxiety is not a permanent state. It peaks, it drops. It always drops. You just have to let it live its peace. Don't negotiate with it. Don't try to think your way out of it. Just stay. Feel it. Let it peak. Let it drop. And when it drops, notice that. Notice that you're still here. That the thing you were so afraid of feeling didn't break you. That noticing, that's the reps. That's how you build a mind that isn't ruled by avoidance. Not by being fearless, but by collecting evidence that you can survive the fear. For Sam, opening that bank statement was the facing. Her stomach probably dropped when the number loaded. That was the peak. And then she sat with it. And it didn't kill her. It was just a number. A hard number, but a number with a solution. The monster she'd been running from for 18 months was just a problem she hadn't looked at yet. The anticipatory anxiety, all that dread, was always worse than the actual thing. It always is. So think about what you've been avoiding. The conversation, the statement, the question you won't ask yourself in the quiet. Go toward it. Let it be uncomfortable. Let the wave build, and then let it break. And look, I know this isn't easy. If it were easy, you wouldn't still be avoiding it. But here's what I need you to remember. Your anxiety is not the enemy. It never was. It's been trying to tell you something this whole time. The avoidance is what's been keeping you stuck. Not the feeling itself, but the running from it. So the next time you feel that spike, the tight chest, the urge to close the tab, every time you reach for your phone to start scrolling Instagram and numb yourself out, remember Sam. Remember the wave. Remember that it peaks and it drops. And you will still be standing when it does. You already know what you've been avoiding. You've known the whole time. Big girl pants. You and me. If this hit close to home, drop a comment below. Tell me what tab you're finally going to stop closing. And if you know someone who needs to hear this today, you know what to do. I'll see you in the next one.